You think you need to react faster, louder, harder, more aggressive. You think survival belongs to the quickest trigger, the sharpest tongue, the one who strikes first when tension fills the room. You're wrong. The world has sold you a lie. That chaos demands chaos in return. That fire must be fought with fire. That the only way to survive the storm is to become it. While chaos erupts like wildfire, while voices rise and hands tremble, while panic spreads like a contagion through the air itself, there exists a figure unmoved by the storm, not frozen, not indifferent, not checked out, aware or present, anchored to something the others cannot see. This is not weakness. This is power in its purest, most refined, most terrifying form. You see, control is an illusion. You cannot stop the world from burning. You cannot silence the thunder or calm the flood or convince the chaos to take a day off. But you can become the eye of the storm, the singular point of stillness where clarity lives, where decisions sharpen, where identity does not fracture under pressure. The question is not whether chaos will come. The question is, who will you become when it does? Chapter 1. The Storm Reflex. Why your nervous system craves chaos. There is a secret your body keeps from you. It wants the chaos. Not consciously, not rationally. But deep in the ancient architecture of your nervous system, in the reptilian core that predates thought itself, in the primal wiring that kept your ancestors alive when saber-toothed predators lurked in the tall grass, there is a hunger for adrenaline, for urgency, for the electric rush of crisis. This is the storm reflex, the biological programming that turns threat into fuel, that floods your bloodstream with cortisol and sends your heart hammering against your ribs like a war drum. In the wild, this reflex kept you alive. It sharpened your senses. It made you faster, stronger, more reactive. It turned you into a survival machine. But here's the problem. You no longer live in the wild. You live in a world where the threats are not lions but emails, not predators but performance reviews, not survival but status, not death but the quiet terror of irrelevance. And yet your body, your beautiful, ancient, deeply confused body, cannot tell the difference. It treats every conflict, every notification, every passive-aggressive Slack message as if your life depends on it. And so you become addicted to adrenaline. You chase the drama. You manufacture urgency where none exists. You scroll through outrage like it's oxygen. You engage in arguments that mean nothing, with people you'll never meet, about topics that won't matter tomorrow. You fill your calendar until there is no space left to breathe, no margin for thought, no room for anything resembling peace, because stillness feels like death. Silence feels like erasure. Calm feels like you're not doing enough, not being enough, not mattering enough. This is the illusion of urgency, the false belief that intensity equals importance, that stress equals productivity, that chaos equals progress. But here is the truth, the one your nervous system doesn't want you to know. Drama feels alive, but it drains meaning. Every moment spent reacting to chaos is a moment stolen from creating clarity. Every surge of cortisol is a withdrawal from your body's reserves. Alone, you'll pay back with exhaustion and burnout, and that hollow feeling at 3 a.m. when you wonder why nothing feels enough. Every time you let the storm dictate your state, you surrender the one thing that can never be taken from you, your inner ground. And here's the darkly funny part, the cosmic joke we're all living. The world rewards chaos. It applauds busyness. It promotes the frantic, the stressed, the perpetually overwhelmed. Look how hard I'm working, we signal. Look how much I'm juggling. As if exhaustion were a virtue. As if collapse were a badge of honor. But the truly dangerous minds, the strategists, the leaders, the ones who shape history, they operate differently. They move slowly. They speak quietly. They wait. Because they understand something most people never learn. The world does not need more reactive bodies. It needs more composed minds. The person who can stand still in the center of the storm is the person who sees what others cannot. The exit, the opening, the pattern beneath the noise, the move that changes everything. Chaos is not your enemy. Your compulsion to react to it is. Your nervous system was designed for short bursts of intensity, followed by long periods of rest. Fight or flight, then recovery. Crisis, then peace. But modern life has hacked this system. It keeps you in a perpetual state of low-grade panic, never quite in danger, never quite at rest. And the cost? Your creativity dies, your empathy erodes, your relationships become transactional, your body begins to break down, tension, headaches, digestive issues, insomnia, that vague sense of wrongness you can't quite name. This is not living, this is surviving and calling it normal. But what if there were another way? What if you could train your nervous system the way you train a muscle? What if you could teach your body that calm is the default state, not chaos? That stillness is strength, not stagnation. What if you could become the person who doesn't just survive the storm, but who thrives in it? Chapter 2. The Power of Stillness. The Psychology of Calm as Inner Control. Stillness is not passivity, it is self-command. When you choose calm in the face of chaos, you are not avoiding the storm, you are refusing to become it. You are activating a different system entirely, one that modern life has trained you to forget, one that exists beneath the panic and the rush. The parasympathetic nervous system, the part of you designed not for fight or flight, but for rest, digest, and integrate. And this shift begins with something absurdly simple, something you've been doing since the moment you were born, but have probably never done consciously. A single breath. Not a shallow gasp, not a panic-fueled inhale, but a slow, deliberate expansion of the lungs, a signal to your body that you are safe, that you are sovereign, that you do not need to run, that the predator is not real, that you are here. The breath is the bridge between the conscious and the unconscious, between the mind that plans and the body that reacts, between the you that wants peace and the you that's drowning in cortisol. To control your breath is to reclaim your nervous system. It is to say, I am not at the mercy of this moment. I am the stillness within it. And this is not New Age mysticism. This is biology. When you breathe deeply, when you engage your diaphragm and slow your exhale, you are literally activating the vagus nerve, the wandering nerve that connects your brain to your heart, your gut, your entire autonomic system. You are telling your body, in the language it understands, we are safe, stand down. But the power of stillness goes deeper than biology. It touches something psychological, something archetypal. Carl Jung understood this deeply. He spoke of the tension between the shadow and the self, the dark, chaotic impulses we repress and deny, and the integrated wholeness we seek but rarely find. For Jung, true power was not the elimination of darkness, but the conscious relationship with it, to stand calmly in the presence of your own storm, to hold both light and shadow without collapsing into either. He wrote, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." Read that again. You do not become whole by pretending the chaos doesn't exist. You become whole by facing it, by sitting with it, by refusing to look away. This is the warrior's path, not the warrior who conquers others, but the warrior who masters himself. The Stoics called this equanimity, the muscle of peace, the unshakable core that remains steady no matter what the world throws at you. Marcus Aurelius, emperor of Rome, did not rule through force alone. He faced betrayal, war, plague, and loss, the kind of chaos that would break most men. And still, in his private journals, he wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Think about that for a moment. The most powerful man in the known world, commanding legions, controlling empires, and his greatest insight was not about strategy or conquest. It was about self-sovereignty, because the external world is chaos. It always has been. Empires rise and fall, fortunes appear and vanish, people betray you, bodies age, everything you build will eventually crumble. But your mind, your response, your composure, that is yours. That is the only territory you truly control. Stillness is not about suppressing emotion. It is not about becoming a robot, cold and detached and above it all. That's not power. That's dissociation. Stillness is about choosing your response. It is the space between stimulus and reaction, the pause where freedom lives. In that pause, you are not helpless. You are not driven by impulse. You are sovereign. And sovereignty, true sovereignty, is not domination over others. It is dominion over the self. This is what the world gets wrong about power. We think power is loud. We think it's aggression, dominance, control. But those are the tools of the frightened, the insecure, the reactive. Real power is the person who can sit in a room full of shouting and not raise their voice. The person who can feel rage and not become it. The person who can face their own darkness and not be consumed. That is mastery. And mastery, like all skills worth having, is not innate. It is built. Chapter 3. Emotional Alchemy. Transforming stress into strength. The storm does not ask for permission. It comes, it crashes, it seeks to unmake you, to scatter your pieces across the floor, to prove that you were never as solid as you thought. But there is an ancient art, practiced by sages and warriors and alchemists throughout history, that turns poison into medicine, chaos into clarity, lead into gold. The alchemists called it transmutation. The psychologists call it cognitive reappraisal. The wise simply call it seeing differently. Because stress, in its rawest form, is not your enemy. It is information. It is your body telling you, something matters here. Something is at stake. Pay attention. The problem is not the stress itself. It is your relationship to it. When you perceive stress as threat, your body collapses inward. Your vision narrows. Your prefrontal cortex goes offline. Your creativity dies. Your intelligence drops. You become pure survival, nothing more. Fight, flight, freeze. React, run, shut down. But when you perceive stress as challenge, as training, as the forge in which resilience is shaped, everything changes. Your heartbeat is no longer panic. It is preparation. Your tension is no longer fear. It is focus. Your adrenaline is no longer terror. It is fuel. This is emotional alchemy, the transformation of reactive energy into conscious power. And it begins with a single shift, holding space for the emotion instead of becoming it. Imagine a mountain. A storm strikes its peak with fury. Wind howls like a wounded animal. Lightning splits the sky in jagged scars. Rain lashes against ancient stone with the kind of violence that would shatter anything softer. But the mountain does not move. It does not resist. It does not argue with the storm or try to negotiate. It does not collapse. It holds. Not because it is unfeeling, but because it knows something the storm does not. This will pass. This is what you must become. Not the storm. Not the one blown apart by chaos, scattered and reactive and gasping for air, but the mountain, the immovable presence that allows the storm to pass through it without being consumed, without losing itself in the violence. To hold space for your emotion means this: I feel you, I see you, I acknowledge your presence, but I am not you. Anger rises like molten lava in your chest. You do not become the rage. You witness it, you name it. This is anger, not I am angry. The distinction is everything. Fear whispers its poison in your ear, tells you stories of failure and humiliation and loss. You do not become the terror. You acknowledge it. This is fear, not I am afraid. Sadness wells up like a tide, threatens to drown you in its weight. You do not become the grief. You honor it. This is sadness, not I am broken. This is not suppression. This is integration. This is the difference between being controlled by your emotions and being informed by them. Because emotions are not the enemy. They are data. Anger tells you where your boundaries have been violated. Fear tells you what you care about. Sadness tells you what you've lost and what mattered. The problem is when you become the emotion. When you let it hijack your nervous system, take over your identity, dictate your actions. Friedrich Nietzsche understood this paradox when he wrote, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." The person who knows their purpose, who has a reason, a meaning, a North Star they navigate by, does not break under pressure. They bend. They adapt. They transmute the weight into strength. Because chaos is not the end of meaning. It is the crucible where meaning is forged. Think about every great story ever told. The hero is not forged in comfort. They are forged in fire, in struggle, in the moment when everything falls apart and they must choose, collapse or transform. And the person who can stand in the fire without burning is the person who emerges not weakened, but refined, not unchanged, but alchemized. This is the deepest secret of resilience. You do not survive chaos by avoiding it. You survive chaos by metabolizing it, by taking it into your system, processing it, and turning it into something useful. Every setback becomes a lesson. Every conflict becomes clarity. Every moment of pain becomes proof that you can endure. And over time, you stop fearing the storm, because you know, with bone-deep certainty, that you are forged from the same fire. Chapter 4. The Warrior of Serenity. Practical integration. So how do you build this? How do you become the mountain when the world is screaming at you to collapse? When your nervous system is hijacked? When every fiber of your being wants to react? Not through theory. Not through inspiration alone. Not by reading philosophy and nodding along and doing absolutely nothing different when you close the book. Through ritual, through practice, through the daily, unglamorous, decidedly unsexy discipline of nervous system regulation. This is not mystical. This is biological. Your nervous system is a muscle, and like any muscle, it can be trained, conditioned, strengthened. You can teach your body that calm is the default state, not chaos. That stillness is strength, not stagnation. But you must be intentional. You must be consistent. You must treat this like the life or death skill that it is. First, the breath. Not once. Not when you remember. Not when you're already drowning in panic. But every morning, before the world makes its demands, before you check your phone, before the day hijacks your nervous system, 5 minutes of deep, diaphragmatic breathing. Inhale for 4 counts, slow and steady, feeling your belly expand. Hold for 4. Exhale for 6, longer than the inhale, activating that vagus nerve, telling your body, we are safe, we are sovereign. This is not meditation. This is not relaxation. This is self-command. This is you taking ownership of your nervous system before the world tries to. Second, the pause. Throughout your day, chaos will come. It always does. A message that triggers you. A comment that cuts. A conflict that inflames. A deadline that suffocates. In that moment, before you react, before you say the thing you'll regret, before you fire off that email or lash out or collapse, pause. 3 seconds. Count them. 1, 2, 3. This is the gap where freedom lives. This is the space between stimulus and response. This is where you reclaim your power. And here's the beautiful, frustrating truth. Most people never find this gap. They go straight from trigger to reaction, from stimulus to explosion, from feeling to action. They are stimulus response machines, Pavlovian dogs salivating at every bell. But you are building something different. You are building agency. Third, the body. Your emotions do not live only in your mind. They live in your flesh. Stress tightens your jaw, locks your shoulders, turns your body into stone. Fear constricts your chest, makes your breath shallow, cages your lungs. Anger clenches your fists, sets your teeth on edge, coils your muscles for violence. You cannot think your way out of a nervous system state. You must move your way out. Walk, stretch, shake like a wild animal shedding trauma. Let the energy discharge. Let the tension release. Your body is not a machine. It is a river, and rivers must flow. Fourth, the mirror. At the end of each day, sit with yourself, not with your phone, not with Netflix or distraction or the 1,000 ways we numb ourselves to avoid feeling, with your own reflection, literal or metaphorical. Ask, who was I today? Did I react or did I respond? Did I collapse into the storm or did I hold my ground? Did I become the chaos or did I witness it? This is not judgment. This is awareness, and awareness is the beginning of transformation. But here is the deeper truth, the one that most will not hear, the one that makes this path so difficult. Meditation is not escape, it is confrontation. When you sit in stillness, when you close your eyes and turn inward, you are not running from the world. You are facing yourself. You are meeting the chaos that lives inside you, the unresolved pain, the hidden fear, the suppressed rage, the shame you've been carrying like stones in your pockets. You are sitting with the shadow, and this is where most people quit. Because stillness is terrifying. It reveals what you've been running from. It exposes the masks you wear, the stories you tell yourself, the identities you cling to like life rafts. It strips away the noise and leaves you with the raw, unfiltered truth of who you are. And who you are is not always pretty, not always noble, not always the hero of the story. But if you do not run, if you stay, if you hold space for that darkness without judgment, without suppression, without trying to fix it or change it or make it go away, then something miraculous happens. The chaos begins to settle, the storm begins to pass, the turbulence calms, and beneath it, beneath all the noise and fury and fear, you find something unshakable. You find yourself, not the self the world demands, not the self that reacts and performs and struggles and pretends, but the self that simply is, the self that does not need the storm to feel alive, the self that does not need chaos to feel worthy, the self that knows with bone-deep certainty that peace is not something you find on a mountaintop or in a monastery or when life finally stops challenging you. It is something you build, moment by moment, breath by breath, inside the chaos itself. Chapter 5. The Internal Struggle. The Cost of Composure and the Shadow of Stillness. But let us not romanticize this path. Let us not pretend it is easy or natural or anything other than what it is. A rebellion against 10,000 years of evolutionary wiring, against a culture that glorifies urgency, against a nervous system that screams for reaction. Because choosing calm over chaos is hard. It is upstream work. It is salmon swimming against the current, bird flying into the wind, warrior walking into the fire when every instinct says run. And there is a shadow side to stillness that must be named, that most spiritual teachers conveniently ignore, that could corrupt this entire practice if you're not vigilant. Composure, when misused, can become detachment. Stillness can harden into coldness. The mountain, unmoved by storm, can also become unmoved by life, by joy, by connection, by love, by the raw, messy, beautiful vulnerability of being human. Carl Jung warned of this. He spoke of the persona, the mask we wear to survive, the identity we construct to meet the world's expectations, the armor we build to protect ourselves. And he warned that if we become too identified with that mask, too attached to the image of composure, we lose touch with the self, the deeper, more authentic, infinitely more complex core of who we are. The person who is always calm, always composed, always in control. They may not be at peace. They may be numb. They may be suppressing instead of integrating, avoiding instead of facing, performing serenity instead of embodying it. This is the knife's edge you walk. Because the goal is not to become emotionless. It is not to transcend your humanity, to rise above feeling, to become some enlightened robot who watches the world from a distance. That's not wisdom. That's dissociation. The goal is to inhabit your humanity fully, with all its darkness, all its light, all its contradictions, all its chaos, and to do so with awareness. The warrior of serenity does not deny their anger. They channel it. They let it inform their boundaries, sharpen their clarity, fuel their action when action is needed. They do not suppress their fear. They interrogate it. They ask, is this fear protecting me, or is it limiting me? Is this wisdom, or is this trauma speaking? They do not avoid their pain. They alchemize it. They sit with it, process it, let it teach them what it came to teach. And this requires something most people are unwilling to give: honesty. Brutal, unflinching honesty about who you are, what you feel, and why you react the way you do. You must ask yourself, am I calm because I am at peace, or because I am afraid to feel? Am I composed because I am grounded, or because I am hiding? Am I still because I am strong, or because I am frozen? These are not comfortable questions, but they are necessary. Because the person who chooses calm over chaos is not running from the world. They are engaging with it at a depth most people never reach. They are not avoiding conflict. They are transcending reaction. They are not denying emotion. They are mastering relationship with it. And this mastery is not a destination. It is a practice. Some days, you will be the mountain, unmoved, unshaken, sovereign. You will hold your ground while the world burns around you, and you will be exactly who you need to be. Other days, you will be the storm, chaotic, reactive, messy, human. And that is not failure. That is life. The goal is not perfection. The goal is awareness. The goal is to notice when you collapse into chaos and to choose in the next moment to return to your ground. Because every time you return, every time you take that breath, find that pause, reclaim that stillness, you are not just calming your nervous system. You are rewriting your identity. You are teaching yourself at the deepest level that you are not defined by the storm. You are the space in which the storm occurs. And that space, that awareness, that is freedom. Chapter 6. Resolution. Takeaway. The alchemy of everyday chaos. So what happens when you choose calm over chaos? You do not become invincible. You do not transcend suffering or escape pain, or suddenly live in some blissed-out bubble where nothing touches you. That's not the promise. That's never been the promise. But you change your relationship to it. You stop being the victim of circumstance and become the author of response. You stop reacting to every trigger like a puppet on strings and start responding from a place of sovereignty. You stop mistaking intensity for importance, busyness for meaning, chaos for vitality. And you start recognizing that the deepest power is often the quietest. This is not a philosophy for the weak. This is a philosophy for the brave. Because it takes courage to stand still when the world is screaming at you to run. It takes strength to hold space for your darkness without being consumed by it. It takes discipline to build peace, breath by breath, moment by moment, in the middle of the fire. But the rewards are profound. Your mind becomes clearer. Not because you have fewer problems, but because you're not drowning in reactivity. Your decisions become sharper, faster, more aligned with who you actually are, instead of who panic tells you to be. Your relationships deepen because you are no longer projecting your chaos onto others, no longer making them responsible for your peace. You stop being a storm looking for someone to calm you and start being a presence that others can anchor to. Your creativity expands because you are no longer trapped in survival mode, no longer burning all your energy just to stay afloat. You have space to think, to imagine, to create something beautiful instead of just reacting to what's broken. Your energy returns because you are no longer burning cortisol like rocket fuel, no longer operating in a perpetual state of emergency. Your body remembers what rest feels like. Your nervous system remembers what safety feels like. And most importantly, you become whole, not perfect, not without struggle, not some enlightened master who has transcended human limitation, but integrated, aware, aligned with the deepest truth of who you are. Niccolo Machiavelli wrote about power as the art of strategic action, the ability to navigate chaos without being destroyed by it, to move through conflict with ruthless clarity. But he missed something crucial. The greatest power is not external, it is internal. It is the power to remain yourself when the world demands you become something else. It is the power to feel everything and still choose your response. It is the power to walk through the fire and emerge not burned, but tempered. Carl Jung saw this. He understood that individuation, the process of becoming whole, is not about eliminating the shadow, not about becoming pure light, not about transcending your darkness. It is about integrating it. It is about standing at the center of your own contradictions and saying, I am both. I am light and dark. I am calm and chaos. I am order and disorder. I am human. And from that place of integration, you do not need to control the storm. Because you are no longer afraid of it, the storm becomes a teacher. The chaos becomes a mirror. The struggle becomes the path. You stop seeing life as something that happens to you and start seeing it as something that happens through you, for you, as you. And peace, true peace, is not something you find at the end of the journey, not a destination you reach when you've finally fixed everything, not a reward for being good enough or calm enough or enlightened enough. It is something you build, step by step, moment by moment, breath by breath, inside the chaos itself. It is the choice you make, again and again, to return to your ground when the world tries to pull you away. It is the awareness that you are not the storm. You are the stillness that watches it pass. Closing line. Peace is not found. It's built, moment by moment, inside the chaos itself.